My child, listen closely now. I see the quiet place you stand in, and I know the weight you have carried in the silence. Something massive has just moved, and it is time you understood the truth behind what they thought was finished, and what this moment truly means for where you have been positioned. Those who quietly distanced themselves from you now carry a quiet weight of sadness. What they were certain was the end for you turned out to be the moment their own regret began. And yes, they are troubled now, not because you are absent from their lives, but because you are living in a way they never imagined possible. Their tears are not for your departure, my beloved one, but for the vibrant life you now will possess, a life far beyond their limited understanding. You sensed a significant change approaching. They chose to occupy themselves with fleeting things, while you were moving toward a time that would expose the hollowness behind their false ways and lead them to a hidden sadness. And now, that time has arrived. A deep shift has occurred, not mainly impacting you, my child, but unsettling their understanding of things. It is a sharp, difficult realization that pierces through all the masks they wore. They shed tears in private, in unavoidable hidden spaces, behind closed doors, within the world they made for themselves by excluding you. They actively sought to lessen you. They didn't just leave, they did so with disdain. They acted negatively towards you, all while taking from your inner self like those who take things secretly in the dark. They saw your spirit as a weakness, and your willingness to be open as something to take advantage of. When they finally drew away from you, they left not humbly but with pride, certain they had won. Now that same pride feels heavy, my precious child, because something important has happened, not because of what you said, but entirely because of the person you have grown into. You have reached a state they cannot access, ascended higher, showing qualities they insisted you didn't possess, and much more. And what they once dismissed now remains with them, a persistent memory. Your presence is sensed where you are not physically present. Your essence echoes in places they thought were exclusively theirs. They watch silently now, seeing how matters are unfolding. And what disturbs them most is remembering. They recall what they said, what they did, the realities they wouldn't acknowledge. This memory troubles them profoundly. They weep now, my child, not because they miss being with you, but from understanding how wrongly they acted towards you. They didn't just lose a connection. They lost their own inner peace, their own possibility for development, their own way ahead. You were not just a passing presence. You were the path to the very things they claimed they desired. Now, they see those things coming into being and they are not included. They weep in secret because their sense of self-importance keeps them from admitting they were wrong. Their pride prevents them from acknowledging they released something valuable. For now, they grasp, my child. You didn't just get better. You grew into someone they no longer know, someone they cannot access. Peace was something they sought, and now they are reminded that you carried it within you. They longed for loyalty, and now they see it was with you. They wanted success, advancement, balance, but they broke the bond that would have guided them there. And the way events unfold makes sure that truths become clear when the moment is right. It ensures they hear the silence that came from what they did. Every good thing in your life now, my precious child, every fresh opportunity, every bright moment you encounter, it plainly shows the truth they tried to conceal. You were not the difficulty. You were the way forward. And now their regret is not a far-off idea, but something deeply felt within them. It's not easily spoken. It's the kind that disrupts their rest, that makes them revisit your path with a forced composure, that causes them to look back at past exchanges, seeking any hint of weakness in you that keeps them silent, because speaking the truth would mean admitting you were right all along. They didn't value your light. Now they see it as something they cannot reach. Now, without you, they are less than they were before. They thought they were discarding something without value. Now they find themselves unable to move forward, held in place. This isn't about some grand consequence. It's simply the result of what they did. This isn't about getting even with them. It's about understanding arriving for them. This isn't you showing yourself differently now. It's them finally seeing who you truly are. So let them have their tears, my child. Let their sadness be proof of the truths you embodied when they thought you were unimportant. Let them stay in the stillness they said they wanted, because a deep change has taken place, not just for you, but for them. And now they realize your strength wasn't born from needing something. Your stillness was because you were being made ready. And now you are the clear reality they cannot overlook. Your name is known widely, your light cannot be dimmed, and their sadness cannot be halted. They thought your path was finished, but you were only paused. I arranged that pause, my beloved child, not for their sake, but to make you ready. They genuinely thought your path had concluded. To be clear, they felt a sense of satisfaction in what they saw as your failure, perhaps in silence, or even openly when you were not present. They saw your periods of quiet and thought you had quit. They misunderstood your pause as a final halt. They confused your stillness with feeling beaten. But they did not grasp that your delay was not a conclusion. It was part of my design. And now, that very delay has become what they fear most, my child, because you did not stay concealed. You came forth. They found happiness in your absence and made quiet, hurtful comments. And you kept your nerve. You let them have their short season. But staying quiet does not mean surrendering. Great strength often builds without drawing attention. And that is exactly what was happening. You were being made strong in unseen ways, growing in stillness, and kept secure by something much greater than their words. Now they weep, my child, not because you are no longer with them, but because the life you now live plainly shows they had no authority to say your story was over. Understand this, my child. They thought your pause meant you had failed. But I placed that pause upon you, like holding back a crucial element until the precise moment it was needed for a major turning point. You were intended for this particular time. You were not held back. You were being positioned accurately. They could not see this, my precious child, because their limited perspective could not understand the greater purpose. Yes, there were moments, weren't there, my child? Times when you felt the sting of uncertainty. You wondered if perhaps they were right about you. You questioned if you truly were the person I created you to be, if you had stumbled beyond recovery. That was precisely their intention, you see. They hoped to plant seeds of doubt so deep they would choke the very path I laid out for you. But you must understand this truth. You cannot abandon the purpose woven into your being. You may pause, yes. You may feel deep sorrow. You may walk through pain, but you will not be shattered. And when you emerge from those difficult times, you will carry a quiet strength they could never have imagined. You were not held back, my precious child. You are not falling behind. You are whole. You were being prepared for a time when your presence could no longer be ignored. Those who stood against you now feel a different kind of pain. They weep because they realize their early celebrations were mistaken. They declared an end that simply did not arrive. They missed the deeper truth. What seemed quiet and still beneath the surface was actually taking firm root. My child, you have become the person you were meant to be, and the untrue things spoken about you are now reflecting back upon those who spoke them. Some even secretly wished for your difficulties. Let's speak plainly, my beloved. The truth was simpler. They were afraid. They sensed the calm power within you, even when you were still and quiet. You didn't need to strive or force anything. Your very existence was enough, and that made them uneasy then. Now it brings them sorrow. They grieve in moments when no one sees. They weep when they are alone. Remembering their words brings them a feeling of shame. They remember how they treated you. They remember setting you aside. And now they witness your life unfolding in ways they insisted would never happen. Here is what I need you to grasp, my cherished child. They did not dim your light. I arranged this timing for its greatest impact. Your journey is not behind schedule. It reveals itself precisely when it is right for you. And yes, when it reveals certain things to them. This is not random chance. This is purpose, part of a larger plan, solid and true. You were becoming strong and resilient while they celebrated your silence. You were being made firm while they believed you were broken. And now, my beloved one, you are not merely whole. You carry a quiet power, not because you fight battles as they do, but because you embody truth. And truth does not beg for attention. It simply arrives and transforms everything around it. Allow them their tears. Let them experience the quiet discomfort they hoped would undo you. Let them witness your presence, even though it is difficult for them to bear. For the person you are now wasn't formed in a single day. It took shape in moments unseen, in quiet times, through uncertainty. You became something authentic they could never copy. They believed your journey was finished. They marked you as someone easily forgotten, someone whose absence wouldn't matter. But they forgot, my precious child, some souls do not fade away. They emerge again with clearer vision, deeper strength, completely steadfast. The pause they welcomed became the very space where you grew into your full, unstoppable self. Now their talk about you returns, but it carries no certainty, only regret for their past choices. They watch your path closely. They search for your unique spirit in others who cannot hold it. They grieve not just for your success now, but for the dawning understanding that this outcome was always meant to be. The very paths they closed off to you, you now bypass entirely, heading toward places they will never reach. You didn't simply return. You returned beyond their reach. You didn't just recover. You surpassed all their expectations. They believed you were finished. Now they weep, realizing you were merely beginning. Your name is now spoken with significance in the very places where it was once dismissed. They removed you from their circle, but now your progress is the center of their conversations. And now that same name is difficult for them to bear, because it will not be quieted. Your presence is felt more strongly than ever, my child, and you haven't needed to assert it. This is what troubles them most. You didn't engage in conflict. You didn't respond with negativity. You didn't argue your way to being valued. You earned respect by enduring what they claimed would break you. You moved through their scorn, untouched, unafraid. And now, every place where you were once made to feel small now resonates with your name, not in scorn, but in respect, not as a warning, but as an example. They struggle to accept it, yet they know it is real. Their pride prevents them from admitting it openly, but they watch you closely, observing quietly, learning from the very spirit they tried to extinguish. Those who once dismissed your name with a glance now speak it softly, my beloved child, as if it holds a power that reminds them of what they let slip away. It causes them pain, doesn't it? The truth dawns on them that you exceeded every limit they set, and your being now transforms the very environment they sought to dominate. You were the one they excluded, kept distant, spoken of negatively, and attempted to leave behind. But the flow of life ensures that certain individuals are necessary for certain moments. You were the one they removed from consideration. Now, you are the standard by which others are considered. They attempted to overlook your being, and now it is impossible to avoid. You became the example they must acknowledge, the standard they outwardly ignore, while inwardly measuring themselves against it. Let me be clear, my cherished one. They did not merely dismiss you. They found satisfaction in it. They felt a sense of control when they excluded you. They felt important when they spoke lightly of your difficulties. They found pleasure in your name when it was linked to hardship, hurt, or being alone. But now that same name causes unease. Your light disrupts their familiar comfort. Your accomplishments disturb their trivial conversations. Your name brings a quietness not of peace, but one that loudly declares their mistake. And the wonder of it is, you never had to force your way into their regard. You didn't seek their approval. You weren't even trying to gain their admiration. What I have done in you, my child, this is what truly reaches them. You weren't reaching for their nod of agreement. You were simply settling into the space I made for you. You weren't trying to put on a show, but now your very existence is the undeniable proof. You didn't have to make others smaller. You just grew strong enough that they couldn't miss you. Your name is now on the lips of those who swore they would never speak it. You are the standard they measure against, the reason for their uncertainty, the mirror reflecting their sadness. You are the living proof they wish didn't exist, because it shows they bet against one I hold dear. This is not just some form of settling a score. This is the revealing of my purpose. This is what happens when those I love are allowed to thrive when the time is right, my cherished one. Not for fame or public applause, but to show the true nature of those who laughed when they pushed you away. You were the name they tried to silence, and now it echoes with greater strength. You are more than just something they talk about. You are fixed in their minds, not with sadness, but with a certain regard, because they failed to see they were actually setting the stage for how you would be remembered. And all they can do now is watch, because who you are now carries a unique weight, my child, and those who are not in step with it feel the distance. You are not just physically present in spaces anymore. My child, understand this. Your very being carried a certain significance. You were the gentle force others noticed, the topic that came up when they spoke, the clear example of what it means to grow. They compared themselves to you, even when they acted like they didn't see. Even if they wouldn't say it, they learned lessons from you. They observed when you chose to move, the calm power when you were still, the way you came back after hardship. And every time your name is mentioned, it brings back the memory of what they tried to push away and failed. Do not mistake their quietness. That stillness holds a deep weight of sorrow. Each time they hesitate when your name comes up is a moment they recall how they acted toward you. Every uneasy movement, every sudden change in what they are talking about, every strained smile, that is not ease, my beloved child. That is unease. That is sadness they cannot voice. That is them understanding that the one they turned from was the one whose presence was truly essential. So let them speak low. Let them whisper. let them remain with the sound of your name, which now carries more power than any praise they could give. Because now, you do not need their validation. Who you are is strong enough. What you have accomplished is clear evidence. The steady way you walk is the final word. You were the one they wrote off. Now you are the one who stands apart, the one held in regard, the one at the heart of things. They could not keep you out of the place because you were the very thing that kept that place stable. Allow that truth to settle. They sent you away and sent away the peace that came with you. They did not simply lose you. They lost the stillness that only arrived because of you. They believed they were helping themselves when they moved you aside, telling themselves they were getting rid of trouble, removing things that pulled their attention, guarding their own quiet. But understand this truth. You were the steady quiet. You were why disorder did not take over sooner. You were the stabilizing presence they never saw the worth of, the clear way of seeing things they never prized, the gift they never knew they had, until it went away with you. And now their world feels more noisy than it did. Confusion echoes through their time. Things that used to work easily now fall apart without a clear cause, and they are left wondering, why does nothing feel right anymore? Because you were the safe place. Your being there brought stability to the air around you, even when you did not know it. The good heart you had softened troubles they did not even see coming. The gentle spirit you showed created a protection they ignored until the moment it was no longer there. Let me be clear about one thing. They did not turn you away to keep themselves safe. They turned you away to feed their own sense of importance. But you were trying to keep things from falling apart around them. And now the way things are set up is weakening, little by little, and they cannot fix it because you were the part that kept it stable. It is like taking away the very thing that kept everything working together because you did not like the sound it made, only to understand later that nothing works as it should now. The moments are not right. The flow is disrupted, and the one they tried to quiet was actually the one who brought things into order. They shed tears when no one sees, not just because they long for you, but because they miss the way their lives felt when you were near. The clear sight, the sense of purpose, the calm strength, that stable effect that kept their lives in balance. They perceive a lack now, and regardless of who they draw near or what they pursue, nothing brings lasting calm. Because what was within you was one of a kind. I put it there myself. And do not feel sad about going. Do not wonder if you should have stayed longer, worked harder, said more. The reality is you were not intended to fix their inner brokenness. You were meant to shine with my light, not ask for leave to glow. I did not guide you away from them to bring them hardship. I did it to keep you from harm. I saw the change coming before they did. I saw the faults in how they lived, and I led you away so you could truly thrive. Allow them to face the confusion. Let them face the hardship, because the peace they once knew was with them because of you, and they pushed it away. They took you lightly. Now the way you live teaches them a truth they cannot look away from. They tried to make you seem less. Now you are the clear reality that ended their mistaken way of seeing. They didn't just chuckle. They scorned. They didn't just speak. They twisted the truth. They thought they were smart. But all they did was become small in the unfolding of the important path I set out for you from the first moment. And now, that past finding things funny has become a deep lesson for their lives, one they cannot get away from. You did more than just get back on your feet. You grew into the one they said you could never be. And that way they had of putting you down, that is the end of their mistaken view, because your calm presence now stills their noise. Simply by being you, you quiet the empty talk. The one you have become shifts the whole picture, and their former amusement, it has turned to unease now. But now they find it hard to grasp the depth of your unfolding. You didn't just get through that quiet season. You rose above the boundaries they imagined for you. You didn't change to gain approval. You changed because staying small felt like a cage for your inner self. And I watched over you. I kept you secure. I let them have their moment of laughter while I made ready for you to step forward. Now they don't joke about you. They speak with strain, with quiet, with unsaid words and quick looks. Because the way you live now shows what isn't real in their own lives. You showed plainly that real strength doesn't need to be loud. It simply exists, causing others to re-examine what they thought was true. They didn't think you would stand tall. They thought you would fall apart. That's why their sorrow is so profound. That's why they shed tears when no one sees, because they cannot pretend you are not the one you are now. They cannot go back to believing you didn't matter, because each step you take forward reminds them you were never meant to be laughed at. They simply didn't understand the importance of what I intended for you. And do not shrink yourself to make them comfortable now, my precious child. Do not lessen the journey you have walked. Do not lessen the brightness I put inside you. Because this is how things should be, not a way to get back at them, but the quiet calm that comes from living out what I meant for you. The kind that turns their former jokes into quiet thought, and their harsh words into sadness. Now you are the example, and despite how much they want to turn away, you stay in their minds as a simple, clear truth that shows their past words were empty. You were meant to show them a clearer path. They saw you as a threat instead. You came not to scare them, but to offer safety. But they chose their own direction instead of the security I offered through your presence. You entered their lives carrying my light, my truth, with a spirit that could have brought healing if they had welcomed it. You were not there to rule, direct, or strive against them. My child, you stepped into that place with a different heart, a different way of understanding. I intended for you to bring a fresh breath, to help them see things more plainly, to find a better road, alongside you. But they weren't prepared for plain sight, were they? They weren't seeking peace or wanting to move past their current state. They simply wanted to stay settled, and being settled often pushes back against anything that causes change, even if that change is for their own benefit. You were the still response to needs they didn't even know how to name, the soft push they missed because it didn't come with noise or notice. You didn't raise your voice, you didn't push through. You simply were there. Yet, simply being you showed them their own ways of acting. Your quiet peace unsettled their confusion. You didn't bring them pain. You brought them what is real. And what is real can be the most disturbing thing when someone is holding tight to a made-up world they like better. They saw you as a threat because they couldn't direct you, because your inner quiet didn't sway with their upset, because your clear seeing went right through their muddle. But my beloved, you weren't there to point out their failings. You were there to offer a way free, a caution. Now the outcomes of their choices cannot be denied. They are troubled when no one is watching, seeing that the troubles you warned them about have now appeared in their lives. The hard times you felt coming, the pain you tried to help them escape, the damaging ways of doing things you urged them to leave behind. You didn't come to bring trouble, you came to keep it away. And like those who don't listen to the sound of trouble nearing, they chose their own path because they were too proud. Now they are weighed down by what happened because they waited too long. They are finding it hard, not because of outside things, but because of the heavy burden of their own sorrow for ignoring the one soul who saw what was ahead. You, my beloved one, who spoke quietly, who moved simply, who cared truly. That is what disturbs them now. Deep inside, they know you were correct. You weren't something to fear. You were a road to security. You weren't what was wrong. You were the hand offered to help. But thinking too much of oneself speaks louder than good sense until quiet falls. Until the difficult times arrive. Until the place is bare and the only sound is the memory of the words you spoke. And now they cannot go back. They cannot make what happened unhappen. The struggles they face didn't happen because of you. They happened after you were gone from that place. Do not let their sadness or sorrow pull you back into that situation, my child. You completed what I intended for you there. You held out the light. You tried to raise them up. But not everyone is prepared or willing to receive support. Some will choose their own hard road instead of the hand held out to help. This is because their self-importance needs to stay in control, even if it means losing their calm. Allow them to feel their sadness now. Let the still times show them what is real, because the hard things they face were never caused by you. You were the one who gave the warning, and they will not forget that. They may have found joy in your troubles. Now they find your moving forward disturbing. They may have felt pleased when you met hard times. Now their calmness breaks when they see you are well. They didn't just step back quietly. They found pleasure in your struggles. Behind kind faces and quiet spaces, they inwardly felt glad when you met challenges. They were quick to accept the worst about you. Quick to tell what seemed real, but came from their own wanting what you had. They didn't stand with you when you were low. Those who fear looking at things straight often feel pleased when others fall. They privately hoped you would not succeed. Your hard times were like a show for them. When you were at your lowest, that was when they felt best. But here is what they did not see coming, my cherished one. Your finding strength again was quiet, but it changed things deeply. You didn't try to get back at them. You didn't voice your troubles loudly. You didn't ask for people to notice you. You found peace in still times, worked hard without needing thanks, and walked ahead with a steady heart. When they see you now, my child, your very being, your life's path, it stirs unease within them. It's a persistent, difficult echo of what is real. You didn't simply endure, you grew beyond. Their unease isn't fear of you, my precious child, but seeing their own reflection clearly in the light of your achievements. Each step you take confirms that their resistance held no power over the path I set for you. Your increasing stature shows that my grace works strongly without public display. Perhaps they overlooked your stillness, but that stillness became your shield. While their words were hollow, you were changing within. While they were entertained, you were diligently working. And now you are someone they struggle to look upon, because you mirror the person they refuse to be. In your difficult moments, they silently wished you would stay down. And now you show plainly that I witness what happens unseen and bring it into fairness. Because you didn't just ascend. You grew without tearing them down. This is what disturbs them deepest. You didn't retaliate. You didn't pull them low. You let my path guide one who walks with intention, turning hardship into resilience. Now they stay trapped in their own sense of not being enough, pretending not to notice. But my beloved one, you feel it. The truth in the air doesn't lie. It's not your brightness that upsets them. It's that it appeared without their permission. They are troubled that the one they wished would disappear is now too clear to disregard. Let them stay in that place of resentment. Let them stay where they were when they quietly celebrated your struggles. Because now, each time they see you, their discomfort isn't just surface level. Their deepest self recalls they wished for your failure. Your life was never intended to be a tale of their victory over your collapse. You were meant to be a teaching they would wish they had heeded. They showed little regard for the very soul I sent to assist them. You were not a threat. You were the gift they didn't comprehend. You came with hands open wide, not to receive, but to give freely. Kindness, endurance, honesty, a peaceful calm. You didn't seek anything for your own sake. You brought with you stillness, understanding, and a gentle mending woven into your words. You didn't merely show concern, you provided shelter. You didn't just stay close. You stood firm in hard places for those who didn't even know their own trouble. You were the needed shift, a guiding light, a soft interruption in a cycle they couldn't escape alone. And still, they acted as if you could be simply cast aside. But what they never understood, neither then nor now, my beloved, is that you were not sent to stand against them. You were sent to offer them release. You were their opportunity for security presented with gentleness. And they saw you as something minor they could just pass by. Now they feel sadness in private, but not because you are gone. It is because everything they chose over you is not working for them. The very bonds they preferred are now taking their vitality. The ones they favored are far off, silent and insincere. And the firmness, the feeling of being settled, the calm they knew when you were close, it has vanished because it flowed from you. It always did. They failed to recognize its worth until it was gone. It is like burning the only bridge over a swelling river. And now they stand there, buried under troubles, wondering why the hard times grow. You were the passage over, the solution, the shelter they never valued. They picked their road, believing they were showing their worth. They find themselves alone now, enclosed by the very things they were sure they could handle by themselves, and nothing feels safe. My child, do not let sadness touch your heart about this. You were not sent to beg for welcome in a place you were meant to grace with your being. You offered a way out of their repeating patterns, a voice that could have saved them long years of trouble, but they were not prepared to hear it. They saw your true understanding as a danger. They thought your rising made them smaller. When they saw your light, they blamed it, because it showed the shadows in their own hearts. Allow them to face the results of what they named liberty. Let them wrestle with the same inner troubles you sought to help them escape. Because the moment they showed disregard for what was precious, the natural flow of things continued without my further step. And now they shed tears, not because they miss you, my cherished child, but because they grasp they lost the one soul who came not to hurt, but to bring wholeness to all they wouldn't face. They are not crying over your leaving. They long for the person they might have been while you were close. Let me speak plainly, my beloved one. They were never truly afraid of losing you. They were afraid of losing the person they were turning into when they were near you. Because being near you showed them parts of themselves they weren't ready to see. Their own abilities, their own need for mending, their own reality. You did more than just show concern. You gently pushed them. You did more than just uphold them. You helped them ascend. And when they weakened the bond, they didn't just turn from one soul. They turned away from a greater possibility inside themselves. Now they cry, not from warmth or a desire for your presence, my child, but from sorrow for the future they gave up by choosing fear over growth. You were like a mirror showing a truth they couldn't stand to see. You showed them who they were, and harder still, who I intended them to be. But instead of accepting the unease and stepping ahead, they turned away from it, from you, from all that was put in their path to lead them toward peace. And now that mirror is absent. They no longer see who they were before. They see what could have been. As they watch your life, they feel the distance, not just the miles, but the deep inner and spiritual gap that is now present. The space they made when they chose pride over becoming more. My child, you were helping them find their way out of old habits they said they disliked, out of patterns they felt stuck in. But they grew afraid, not of you, my cherished child, but of the good change your presence brought. Their sorrow now isn't for you being gone. It's because they missed the chance, the opening, the breakthrough, the light that was right there before them until they shut the door tight. They thought they were setting boundaries. In truth, they were blocking blessings. They believed walking away showed strength. But now they sit in stillness, troubled by the part of themselves that only seemed to exist when you were near. And hear this clearly, my child. Your worth was never about anything you gave them outwardly. It was about the spark you helped awaken within them. You were a calm presence, wrapped in care. A sense of purpose found in peace. A reflection not to please them, but to show them what was real. And what causes them pain now is that they ended the connection which showed them a path they were too afraid to follow. Let them sit with that knowing. Let them weep not for your absence, but for the person they will not become without your influence. Because you were a turning point for them, and now they are walking in circles while you, my beloved, are moving forward with a quiet ease they cannot even understand. They didn't just lose you. They lost the chance at a better version of themselves they were starting to find. My child, the path you now walk is not about seeking their notice or proving anything further. It is simply the unfolding of who you were always meant to be, free from the limitations others tried to place upon you. Their sorrow is not a measure of your value, my cherished one, but a measure of their own inability to embrace the chance for change when it stood before them. Do not let their regret become a chain that pulls you back into their space of difficulty. Your freedom from their influence is now complete. You are not held by their opinions or confined by their past actions. The quiet strength you possess was forged in moments they never witnessed, built up in the stillness when they believed you were weakened. Now live fully in the light of this new reality. Walk with a clear step, knowing that every good thing arriving in your life is simply alignment, not reward for enduring hardship, but the natural outcome of staying true to the inner knowing I placed within you. Let the peace that settled within you during those quiet times be the foundation for every step ahead. You don't need to seek understanding or validation from those who turned away. Their perspective was limited by their own inner state, and you were never meant to fit into their small view of what was possible. Focus now on the horizon before you, my precious child. The road is clearer, the air is lighter, and the opportunities are aligned with your true being. Every experience, every connection, every quiet moment of knowing is part of the unfolding purpose I have for you. It is a path built on authenticity, resilience, and the quiet power that emerges when a soul stops striving for external approval and simply is. This is the essence of the strength they now see but cannot touch. It is not a strength that comes from fighting or overcoming others, but one that flows from deep within, from a steadfast connection to the truth of who you are. Their sadness is a consequence of their own choices, my beloved one, a natural result of turning away from something genuine and life-giving. It is not your burden to carry or your problem to solve. Your responsibility was to walk in the light I gave you, to trust the quiet guidance, and to allow the hidden work within you to come forth when the time was right. And that time is now. Your presence is a quiet declaration of truth, a living example that resonates far beyond words or actions. So, let them sit with their discomfort. Let them grapple with the understanding that arrived too late. Your journey continues, guided not by their reactions, but by the steady hand that has always directed your steps. Embrace the peace you have found, my child. Cherish the quiet confidence that has grown within you. The future holds moments of deep joy and fulfillment, experiences that are aligned with the true essence of your being. You are not defined by the past or limited by the perceptions of others. You are free to walk the path I have laid out, knowing that every step is purposeful and every moment is held in my care. This is your time, my beloved child, to simply be the person I created you to be, without apology or explanation. My child, you have journeyed with me through these words, your spirit attuned to the truth. Your heart's response, that deep knowing, is a sign of your divine path. You are not walking this road alone, my beloved one. You are part of a chosen remnant, those who are called to hear clearly in this crucial season. This moment holds a specific significance, a divine timing for action and deeper revelation. I give you this assignment now, my child. Let this message take root and transform you, and let your engagement with this sacred work be a declaration of your alignment. Support this word, that it may reach others who yearn for the light. Return when I call again, for there are further depths to explore and greater peace to find within me. Go forth, my child, enveloped in my light and protection.